Police are still searching for the person or people who shot two police officers in Ferguson, Missouri early Thursday morning in an attack the St. Louis police chief is calling an ambush. Here's more of what Police Chief John Belmar had to say earlier today.
At 12 a.m., we hear three or four shots ring out. Some of you have seen that on the media. These are shots that aren't in the air, they're not in the ground. One way you can tell is when you listen to the audio, you can actually hear those shots singing. Those shots immediately strike two officers that are standing next to each other. But I'd like to underscore that these officers are also standing in a line of about at least 20 to 25 officers. As you might imagine, this is the #1 priority right now of the St. Louis County Police Department to identify these individuals. That individual are individuals who shot our police officers.
The WSJ's Ben Kesling is in Ferguson, and he has the latest. Ben, where does the investigation stand now?
Well, the police haven't really said. They're saying that they have some people that they're talking to, but they haven't announced any arrests at this time.
Now, yesterday, Ferguson's police chief resigned. There was another round of protests, and then the shooting happened. What's the mood like there today? What's going on?
Well, it's very quiet right now. So we're standing in the parking lot right across from the Ferguson Police Department. This was just roped off for the past few hours. They just opened it back up. It had yellow caution tape. Nobody was allowed in, and it's been very quiet because protesters haven't been around and haven't been standing in the place that they usually protest, which is right behind me.
Obviously, there is a lot of concern right now about police safety there in Ferguson. Are there more protests planned for tonight? Are those going to be suspended now? Any word?
No word. I've talked to some protesters. I haven't talked to anyone since the yellow caution tape has come down, and it's going to allow them to use the same spot that they always use for protests. But if past is any indication, it's quiet during the day, and then at night protesters start coming out, and then as the evening goes on, the protests sometimes grow.
And Ben, of course, this is all coming after the Justice Department report that found that racism was essentially endemic in the Ferguson Police Department and within the judicial system. Is anyone there kind of taking charge, coming up with a strategy to try to diffuse the tension in this town? How do you handle that?
Well, the mayor of the city, James Knowles, has been saying that he's trying to diffuse the situation, trying to make moves to have the community to get over some of these issues. They've dismissed there's been a resignation of the city manager, the municipal judge has resigned, and now the police chief. There's been a few people fired for sending racist emails, and the mayor keeps saying that he wants to have healing in the city, but protesters. I mean, part of Wednesday night's protests were people coming out, some of them celebrating the fact that the police chief resigned. Other people were trying to call for the resignation of the mayor. So it's really up in the air whether or not there's anything is going to be able to be settled at this point.
Yeah, but of course you don't want to see police officers shot in the line of duty during this. What's the latest? How are those officers doing?
The officers have been released from the hospital. That's the latest word. One was shot in the face. One was shot in the torso or in the shoulder. And some people are wondering how someone who could get shot in the face or shot in the shoulder and be released from the hospital in just a few hours. But part of that is because the police think that the weapon that was used to shoot them was a handgun fired from about 150 meters away. And by the time those bullets get to where the officers were standing, there's very little velocity left in it. So they could have they caused those injuries, but didn't necessarily threaten their lives with those wounds.
Yeah, good to hear that they will be okay. Ben Kesling, thanks for joining us.